Hello, Alec. This is Dimitris calling from Chicago and Metalkaoz. How are you?
Good man, how you doing?
I'm doing great. No, I will be doing great once we start talking about the new album.
Right
And
on.
I have to admit, what a trip, what a journey that is. You guys have put together so much stuff. You have the movie, you have the concept, the lyrics. So it would have taken me 3 hours to discuss this, but let's stay controlled. First of all, when did the idea to create a movie based on the album, on the music?
Yeah, so IATT in the past couple albums we've done have been very concept-driven albums.
Hmm.
We had I think it was 2019 Nomenclature was all about um uh primordial kind of like medicine, like 18th century medicine and like the occult. Our next album, Magnum Opus, was about like alchemy and transcending as a human being. And this album, when we decided to do the topic of dream and human consciousness and where you go when you're dreaming and that kind of stuff, we found the material so rich that while we were discussing singles and preparing for prepping music videos for the release, we were like, each track on here is so rich and the entire album tells a story from front to back. It would be so cool and so out of the box, and we couldn't think of anyone else who had really done it to this scale like this, that we were like, let's just shoot for the stars and see what happens. And we started with the first track, and we wrote out like the treatment for it, and we wrote out storyboards and the synopsis and all that stuff. And as we just kept like adding on to it and piling in, it became more enriched, more substance to it. And it just kind of like energized us, and we kept wanting to go further and further and further. And then, we're shooting like the sixth portion of the film, and and we're all beaten and tired and like downtrodden and just like sleep deprived.
Sleep,
And we're like,
sleep deprived, right?
yeah, very much so. Very much so. Yeah. But I don't know if I would do it again, having like lived it.
Mhm.
Um, but definitely I has reached an era of we have these wild ideas and we just shoot for the moon and see if we could do it.
So there are two. I want to ask a lot of questions, but for this part,
Nope.
by giving the band's visual interpretation of the lyrics and the concept, don't you run into a danger of giving me some already thoughts, if that makes sense?
Yeah, there is we are very careful when we do our concepts and things like that we tie a lot of ambiguity and kind of open to interpretation visuals and
Mhm.
and lyrics as well. We want people to be able to listen and kind of put themselves in the perspective of whatever the journey is that we're sending them on. So yes, to answer your question, we were very careful to leave a lot of Easter eggs and innuendos and things that you could interpret certain ways in the dream, in the film, however you see fit. I never want to tell someone, oh, this is what this is supposed to mean. It means
Mm.
whatever you glean out of that, and that comes from the music and when we're crafting visuals for the film and stuff like that too.
So, as you were working on the film aspect, on the visual aspect, did you had no? Did you have second thoughts about the music? I mean, saying, for example, let's change this part because the visual aspect is so difficult to represent, or I don't know. It will have sound more fitting to the visual result.
I think so. We did this album in not very linear fashion in the sense that we crafted the songs first, and
Mhm.
then as we were going through like the mixing and mastering stage, the songs were already written, and then we were fitting the visual elements and movie aspects to what had already been written for the album. So there was no real danger of things contradicting. We were able to kind of mold the visuals as we saw fit to add to the story rather than convolute it.
So basically, you said, okay, the music is done. We are not touching that. whatever we do is for the visual.
To us, on a grander scale, yes, there were some small elements where we decided to go back and add things in
Okay.
to enhance some of the visual ideas that we had. But for the majority of it, the music was already baked, and there was no real changing that recipe.
Okay. So that sounds a lot of it's a very involved process. And instead of
Very.
you guys working, I don't know, 1 year to write the music and then some time to record, master, and all that stuff, then you add it on top of this, creating that the movie. Mm,
Yeah, it took about I'd say 18 months to do the film. And this is all, we were all working, we all had day jobs and things like that.
of course.
We did, I think we did one or two tours, like short run tours, like in that time too. So we were, finding a small team to get together and work on this thing, like, every couple weeks, blocking out 3 12-hour days, when we can shoot. I'd go back home and I'd edit, I'd edit for like 14 hours straight. Like, it
Easy.
was yeah, yeah. Insomnia, right? I mean, that's what it's for.
So yeah, that's why I was trying to connect. You said lack of sleep, and then
Yeah.
the concept of the album is connected to sleep. So it's interesting, right? You kind of sleep deprive the band to work on this project. Oh,
Yeah, for sure. I suffer from insomnia every once in a while, and I'll go through bouts of like 3 nights in a row where I'm not really sleeping properly, where I'll go to bed at 10, wake up at 12 o'clock, and then I'm up until 4 in the morning. And that's kind of where I do a lot of like creative work. Um, so it's a blessing and a curse, you know?
well, in my case, because I have that too. I'm getting so frustrated when I wake up so early, and I maybe I should do what you're doing, being more productive. Thank you for making me think of that.
It's either that or just lay there and stare at your phone, which is the worst thing you could possibly do. So there are times where I will get up and I'll go ahead and I'll do some like artwork and stuff like that, or not so much writing music that late at night, just because like it's I don't want to make too much noise. Um, but definitely like I'm a graphic designer and an artist by trade, so I'll kind of get up and I'll do some work and stuff like that at that hour.
So the work you put on the creation of the film, was it something new to you? Because you said you are into graphics, but I don't know if that includes directing, filming, or all that stuff.
Yeah. So
Was
I actually went to school. I went to college and have a
uh-huh.
degree in film production. And then I spent the last 16 years working as a creative director for a marketing agency where I'd produced commercials for companies like brands
Hmm.
that went like national as far as like commercials go. So production wise, like working the camera and like storyboarding and concepting and that was all like totally in my wheelhouse. I've also shot music videos for IATT in the past. I've shot music videos for other bands, so not an issue. It was the scale of it. It's like, okay, we're gonna shoot one continuous video that is like, pushing an hour. Like, good luck, guy. So, it was exhausting. I'm not gonna lie. It was exhausting. It was mentally, it was draining, and it was hard. It was hard.
Yeah, because I was looking at the credits and I saw that the band was definitely involved, and I said, that looks too good to be a DIY project. So that makes sense now.
Yeah, I got a little bit of a background in film.
So when you mentioned about being sleep deprived, maybe an option is to use something from Endymion Essentials, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That was fun to come up with some of the props. We love as a band, me especially, I love hiding Easter eggs in some of
Mm,
our work. So like little things here and there that hint to like the themes of the album or the themes of the film. So there are tons of Easter eggs hidden in the film. Things like the name of the pills. You know what I mean? It's the Greek. Well, like the
yes.
Greek gods of sleep and dream and all that stuff. So there's tons of things like that in the film.
And I love because that's the Greek mythology has something else different. It is connected to dreaming, to sleeping, but it's
Hmm.
not directly, unless I miss that connection with the concept of the album. And then you throw something else there. The album starts with Alan Watts.
Hmm.
and he describes this his thought experiment. I have so many objections about that, but that's a different discussion to have.
Okay.
And then the band presents something not actually the same. It's like a nightmarish version of that, right?
Yes.
So how did you make all these connections after you had crafted the story and the concept?
So I would say that the general idea, like the general story idea, the grand, synopsis was kind of fleshed out at first, and then we were able to pick different elements that we could like augment and kind of like tie into pieces from the music and from mythology and things like that.
That's very, like I said, and when you well, like I think, not like I said, because I haven't said that out loud. Um, when you describe the music of IATT, you have to use progressive, right? And
Yes.
progressive means that you have included other elements, and this is how much rich the music is. And I guess the same approach, the same concept applies to the lyrics, and the visual concept, right? This is
For
what you
sure.
guys want to build up to.
Absolutely. Yeah, we there I love my black metal, but sometimes, you kind of paint yourself into a box when you're like so focused on genre. And
Mhm.
we discovered the freedom in just like shooting for the moon and like let's see like what weird things we can concoct together, what things that shouldn't go together, Latin fusion and black metal, and let's put them together and see what happens. We will add flute, we will add harp, we will add things that kind of like that. We're more focused on telling a story than we
Mhm.
are sticking into a genre. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. And I believe that, strangely enough, the black metal scene is the most free from these restrictions that we put in the music when we
It's
should.
it's getting there for sure. It's absolutely getting there.
You have the most interesting projects there, the most interesting fusion of different elements.
I feel like it wasn't like that 10 years ago. I feel like there was more rigidity when
Hmm,
it came. Now there are
really?
some exceptions to that. I mean, like look at bands like Enslaved, who are a big inspiration for us, or Isan and Emperor. You know what I mean? Like big inspiration for us. And bands like Death have been doing things like this for like a while, but um, not not to the scale that we're seeing bands now do it. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Maybe it's more that the audience is more
Yeah.
ready to accept these
Hmm.
things, because metalheads, we are very very
Set in our ways.
strict with what we want to have.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
and I like, going back to Alan Watts, that you start with his first part of his thought experiment and you end up with that. um
Yes, there are some other elements to it on the album, the ticking of the clock, being the bookend. So there are certain elements that we used, even like sonic passages. There are key violin and string and piano elements in the last track that were featured in the first track. We really wanted to make it a cyclical story that you could listen to the album, get through this journey, and be like, I need to revisit that. And it just kind of loops you right back around so you can dive back in, pick up on things you didn't listen to the first time or didn't catch the first time. And the film is the same, it's built the same way.
so right now, the current situation in music is, release singles, and the attention span has shortened so much. And Ayat did something very bold right now.
Yeah.
What is the reaction that you guys are getting, are receiving, especially with the film out? To me, it kind of lures you in to really sit down and listen to the entire album and not focus on, not cherry pick on songs.
That was always the goal, is that
Mhm.
we spent so much time crafting these concepts, and we worked so hard to make a film, make an album that goes through a whole journey. We wanted to reward people for sticking in and discovering what we've laid out on this path. The reception so far has been incredible. I mean, people are really responding to, you know, um, the journey that we've set, and what's the most interesting is we're seeing such an uptick on like our Spotify numbers and things. Not that it's all about data, but
Well,
in
it
today's
is.
in today's
At some
day and
level, it
age,
is.
in today's day and age, we're seeing like, the album is getting multiple streams, which means that like people are listening to it 4, 5, 6 times, like, because people are embracing that this is a journey that you need to discover, and you're not going to catch it all the first time, and that's great. Repeat it, go back again, listen again. So fans are responding to it very positively, which is great, you know.
And right now, the film is only digital accessible. Have you guys thought of putting this on a DVD or not?
Yeah, we can probably talk about this now because I think it's nearly penned. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I'll tell you, you got the exclusive. We will be releasing a special edition DVD CD combo before the end of the year. So
Not,
people will be able to own, the
you said
DVD.
CD DVD combo, not vinyl again?
So we do have vinyl.
Yes, I
We
know. It's
we have I see it. We we do have plans for re-releasing a special edition vinyl as well. But as far as the film goes, we want people to be able to have the film, and not just stream it on Thunderflix or digitally when it comes like to the greater populace. So yes, we will do a DVD CD combo coming out before the end of the year, and we're already almost sold out of the vinyls at this point, so we are looking to refresh them, and we're going to do something special for that.
I really hope that what you guys have started doing will be the reason for the attention goes back to the visual because, as you know, right, live concerts nowadays are not being released in DVD. This format has phased out, so I really hope that you guys revive that. Aside from getting the credit you deserve for the work you put together.
Thank you. I mean, we're fans of that. I mean, there are people who love watching live. I love it. I love watching live concerts. I love watching, you know, these things. I'm not. I appreciate what I get off of this thing, but it's 30 seconds and then your attention span is on to something else. I substance is what I'm craving.
Yeah. Going back to the credits, there is a Hypnos as a figure, right?
Yes.
But I'm trying to look at my notes, but I cannot find it right now. Somebody is credited as the stunt for Hypnos. Why is
Yeah.
that? What stunts did you do?
We had to have some stand-ins for certain things. Nothing too crazy. I
Okay.
will I will tell you a story that's pretty funny. So Jay, our vocalist, was the stand-in for Hypnos for most of it, and there were some scenes where I had to stand in and be Hypnos.
Uh-huh.
One in particular, I had to climb out. There's a shot in the film towards the end. I think it's in Walk Amongst, where he's standing in this giant field, this like kind of bog looking thing, and there's this giant like desolate wasteland behind him. So I had to stand in this bog with a drone camera that we use that kind of flies out from Hypnos to
Whoa.
reveal like the whole landscape. It's a beautiful shot. Um, I did take a drone to the face
Jeez.
while we were filming it. So we put ourselves in some precarious situations while we were doing this thing, but no guts, no glory.
Well, as long as nobody getting actually hurt, yes.
Yes, yeah.
But please. Okay. um, so what would have been the ideal next step for this project? And I'm talking about touring now,
Hmm.
because the band has now connected the audio and the visual. So
Hmm.
what will be the ideal stage setup to give this project the format it deserves live?
Hmm. I can tell you that we have a tour coming up in September,
Hmm.
and for it, we are performing the album in its entirety.
Ooh.
And I've crafted a visual component to our performance, so that when you're watching us play live, there will be elements of the film incorporated into it.
No drones, right?
No,
I'm joking.
no drones, not yet.
Okay, okay, that is for the next step, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Um, I wanted also to ask about the main character is P, right? The name
hmm
is P.
hmm
So, and it sounds like there are almost some personal experiences in that story. It's not like anything, everything is fictional, because every day people have are going through the same struggles, right?
hmm
The stress is overwhelming. We are losing sleep. We
hmm
might get night terrors and all that stuff, that terrible stuff. So, how much of that actually draws from real life?
Um, a a solid amount, I would say. We had conversations as a band when we were crafting the story, about like, experiences.
Mm.
We're nerds when it comes down to like concepting for albums, and we'll take time out of like the writing process to like have meetings about like, okay, like how can we pull from real life situations to make these concepts more relatable and more real. In the case of this album and the film, there were absolutely conversations had about like, okay, like who here has experienced night terrors? Like, can we talk about this and see like what kind of feelings we can, what imagery we can invoke from that? There was stuff about insomnia and sleep paralysis and what else? Somnophobia.
Mm.
That's a real thing. I will also add though that P, yes, that there are elements of P that are very grounded in reality and inspiration from real life. But if you recall Greek mythology, P, I think, is Pasithea, who is supposed to be the bride of Hypnos. And that plays a part into where she goes in the story.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Although I was thinking, and I will not spoil this. The ending is very, very strong.
Yeah. Thank-
Um, and you guys are playing the roles of EMTs, although Jay is an actual EMT, right?
Yeah.
So, so that, yeah, there is that dreamy aspect, that almost horror movie aspect, but it's very, very real life, and it gives you the chills. Um,
Thanks, man. That's a huge compliment that it affects people, that people can read into it and it affects
well, I
them.
didn't say that as a compliment. I said that it affected me. So, but I'm glad that you took it as a compliment.
If the art moved you in some way, sorry to say, negative or positive,
No, no, no.
it's doing its job.
Obviously, I'm joking. The message is strong, and again, I am pleasantly surprised that creating a format that, if you had asked me a year ago or maybe yesterday, I would have said, nah, music videos are last year, man. Even something that big. So I'm glad that you guys did, and it deserves, as I said, more credit than you are actually getting. So,
Thank you.
so hopefully, we will see you guys live and see what are you crafting right now. That will be a very, very interesting
Yeah.
experience.
I'm excited to roll out the entire live experience we've crafted. So the visuals, our stage setup has kind of like been shot in the ass with steroids. So now we've got like, lighting kits and everything. So like we're coming guns blazing to this thing, this tour.
And after this tour, are there any plans or plans in the making for Europe?
Absolutely. We're having discussions internally about when that will be and how that will work out. But yeah, that is the goal. And I don't want to put a timestamp on it, but we're pushing for at some point next year.
Excellent. Alec, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for this very interesting discussion. Now I need to go back and re-listen because I'm sure I will discover more. And really, I invite everybody to do the same because what you have guys created is very thick in a good way.
Mhm.
And once you start, scratching the exterior surfaces, more you can discover more and more.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, man.
Absolutely. Have a great rest of your day and have safe touring.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye bye.